So let's do an example using the third angles theorem in a proof. So here we have two triangles. We have our givens, and this is the most important part. And these givens are also marked in the picture. So DE is congruent to GE, DF, line DF is congruent to GF, and they're shown in the picture with these tick marks. These two are congruent. These two are congruent with two tick marks. Angles D and G are congruent. You can see that here. And angles DFE and GFE are also congruent. You can see that there. They want us to prove that the triangles are congruent, or that they are the same in all respects. So in order for this to happen, we need to have all same sides and all, they have to have all the same sides and the same angles, right? For this to happen. So let's look here first. So the first statement that was given was that the line segment DE is congruent to GE and line segment DF is congruent to GF. Now, if you notice, these were given to us. So that's a given. That's the reason it's there. And our second statement says that EF is congruent to EF. Line segment EF is congruent to line segment EF, which, as you can see, is makes sense because the same line is equal to itself. And when something is equal to itself, that is what we call kind of like a reflection. If you look at yourself in the mirror, right, you are looking at yourself. So if the same thing's on both sides, that would be reflexive. The reflexive property is the reason that is the case. And specifically is the reflexive property of congruence. All right, the next thing it says is angle D and angle G are congruent, and angle DFE is congruent to angle GFE. Now, if you remember, that was also given to us in the picture, so that's also a given. Remember, we always start with the given, but if they give us more than one given, sometimes they can be sprinkled in throughout. All right, so now it says that angle DEF must be congruent to angle GEF. Now, where are these angles? Well, angle DEF is this one right there, and angle GEF is this one right here. Now, how can we say that those two are congruent? There's no symbols on it. Well, remember our third angles theorem tells us that if two triangles have two equal angles, so D and G are congruent, and this angle is congruent to that one, well, the last angle, which would be our third angles, would also be congruent based on this third angles theorem. So we can say that this is true based on the third angles theorem. Because two angles are congruent to the other two angles of a triangle, the third one must also be congruent. Okay, and we are done. We have proven that all the sides are the same. And we have proven that all the angles are also the same. And because of this, we can say that they are congruent by the definition of congruent polygons. Remember, polygons are just shapes with created by lines, segments. So this is the definition of congruency. And so, therefore, we can conclude that these two triangles are congruent.